YouTube is live.
YouTube is live. Hooray, we did it. Okay, I'm very excited to have everyone here today. I'm Milich.eth, and this is the Q2 Town Hall for 2023. And we've been doing these since Q3 last year, actually, and they have turned into something that I think the community really looks forward to. And it's just a great opportunity, I think, to see all of the faces behind the people that are working so hard to make ENS great. And so something else just about this particular town hall, we normally run for an hour and a half, but I made the invite 2 hours this time, partly because we have so many ecosystem projects that are presenting, and also because the feedback that we've received over the last couple of town halls has been so positive, and we don't want to have to rush anyone through what they're saying. And so the schedule for today is basically that we will hear from ENS Labs, and so we'll hear from Khori, Sadaf, Dom, and Nick, and then we will hear from the working group stewards. So Katherine, Colton, and Slobo or Alex. And within Meta-Gov, we'll hear from Santi from Karpatkey, and an ecosystem we'll hear from Daylon about the newsletter. And then we have a number of ecosystem projects. And yeah, you will have to hang around for the second hour to see all of them. But this will be recorded and put on, well, we're streaming to YouTube as well, but you'll also be able to watch it after the fact. So okay, I think that's everything. If there are any questions, please let me know. I just have to find my chat. And yeah, that's everything. So I will just hand it over to you, Khori, to kick us off.
All right. And thanks so much, Elisa, for hosting. And hello, everyone. Welcome to Q2. Let me share this. Thumbs up if you can see the slides. Cool. All right, let's skip a little bit. And then we'll come back to Nick in a second. So first announcement I have for everyone is we are hiring a business development and partnerships leader, and her name is Marta Kura. She's going to start next month. She's been in Web3 over the last 5 years and currently at Bubbles. So we're excited to have her join the team and lead the effort in helping us spread ENS around the world. So let's give Marta some love. I know she's in the she's on the town hall today. And welcome to the team, Marta. Next up, as you saw, there were some significant events in the integrations front this quarter, from PancakeSwap, Farcaster to WorldCoin, Ledger, and Uniswap. So we're continuing to increase the number of integrations that we have, and then also deepen our relationships and activities with with current partners too. So check these integrations out, use them, give feedback to the teams, and let them know how they can use ENS better as well. So, and thank you so much to all these partners who've worked with us on integrating. As you know, we partnered with 2 agencies on the external affairs front. Yap Global for things that are PR and press related. They are a crypto native PR firm, and FTF for growth marketing. So we'll chat a little bit about PR, and then I'll hand it over to Sadaf to chat about some marketing items. So in working with Yap Global, we've come up with some narratives that we want to push out to the press and to the media in 2023, starting with back to basics content and moving into more technical content in Q4. So the articles, the podcasts, the op-eds that we're pushing are geared around these themes. Now you'll notice that I'm starting to put a monthly report in the forum. I did it for April, and I'm going to add May's. And so these are some of the metrics for what we've seen on the PR front in May. So 2 pieces of coverage secured. We see 156,000 views. And the team also secured 3 additional pieces of coverage, a couple podcasts and an opinion piece that are going to be published in the future. A couple earned coverage items. Had two fun podcasts with Sam Kamani on the future of ENS and crypto. So check that one out. Great chatting with you, Sam. Thank you. And then with Block Talk, I had a great chat with Bunzi. And that podcast is out. And we're actually going to do a follow-up Twitter Spaces in a couple weeks. We tried to schedule one last week, but got rugged by Twitter Spaces. So we're gonna redo that in a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to chatting with Bunzi again about all things ENS. And also in early July, I'll be with Wade and Ulf on Show Me the Crypto podcast. We had an article in CoinMarketCap drop in May describing the name wrapper, and Nick.eth created this particular piece. All right, and that's it on the PR front. With regard to growth, we've engaged with FTF, which is from the future, and much of the work over the last several months has been around studying the space, doing research, testing various ads, and we're going to get into some exciting things in the months to come. So let me hand it over to Sadaf.
Hey everyone, Sadaf or Sadaf.eth. Thank you, Khori. So as he mentioned, we are working with a marketing company called FTF, or From the Future. They're based in both Philadelphia and LA. We're very excited to be working with them. It's been a great experience so far. So essentially, they have been helping us the first half of 2023 with kind of identifying some key priorities for us, some KPIs, developing an audience, and kind of establishing our personas and setting up multiple initiatives that we're going to be rolling out in the back half of 2023. So Q3 and Q4 will be focused really on executing out those plans. So the work that FTF has been doing with us, we have been working on driving awareness, adoption, and ultimately revenues, both for ENS Labs and of course the DAO. A couple of different ways that we've been doing that. Khori has been working on an initiative called ENS Learn, which will be hopefully the key factor in everybody getting started in Web3. We want this to be the go-to site. It'll be built off of our main site, and hopefully that'll actually be coming out very, very soon. So keep your eye out for that. It'll cover everything from setting up a wallet, getting your ENS name, and really just setting you up for success in Web3. I am very excited to say that I have been working on this next initiative myself. It is an ambassador program. Won't release too much just yet, but essentially the goal there is to reach a greater Web3 audience. So not just ENS users, but we also want to reach people in crypto, people on different blockchains, and people in the NFT world. You can keep your eye out for something coming out a little bit later today for that. Check out our Twitter page in a few hours. And then our organic social strategy. So we're going to be expanding to different socials, things like TikTok and Instagram, LinkedIn, et cetera. We're really going to be curating all of our socials in the upcoming quarters. Key indicators on that. We're looking for new registrations, usage. We would like to see the numbers go up with primary and avatar use, as well as renewals, of course. We're also focused on blog and app traffic, and as I already mentioned, the social engagement. So progress report. So we're really pleased with our first paid media campaign. We worked with MoonPay. You guys may have seen that either on our Twitter page or on the actual app. That was incredibly successful. We're very happy about it. The engagement rate there was over 5% on over 10 million engagements with an average of 3.3. So very, very good there. Our goal there is to really just kind of raise awareness and gain some insight on the audience, try to kind of curate who we need to be focused on in the future on various campaigns. So a couple of paid media campaign numbers here for you guys. There were two major ones that we focused on, the crypto curious awareness as well as the native awareness. So 40% of our impressions came from users between the ages of 25 and 34, which was, very helpful for us to know. And 89% of impressions were from people over the age of 21. We also had really strong engagement coming from the Moon campaign with 7.18, which was also our lowest cost per engagement. We also had some creative insights come from this. So the name wrapper tweet that was released was one of our highest and most well-performing, as well as our ENS mobile-friendly tweet. So we're focusing on a couple of different priorities here. We are community focused, but we also want to make sure we're taking care of the educational aspect of things. So we've got 3 key audiences that we're going to be really weighing in on here. We've got the ENS community, as well as the crypto aware and the crypto curious. So we want to make sure that, we're focused on people that do not know anything about crypto yet, that do need that extra helping hand. And we'll be executing these things across, as I said, Twitter, TikTok, and then we'll be expanding over to things like Instagram and LinkedIn in Q4.
All right. Thank you so much, Sadaf, and thanks for allowing me to drag you into the marketing side of the world.
I'm happy to do it. Thank you for asking, Khori.
All right. Hey, let's Nick has joined. So let's go back to next slides, and then we'll jump down to Don. All right,
yes,
sir.
Hello. So I'm here to present some updates on our backend and protocol changes. First up is gasless DNSSEC. The goal of this is to make it possible to use DNS names inside ENS with 0 ENS transactions and 0 gas used. The basic component for that is being able to set an ENS resolver for a DNS name with no gas, and that works via fetching DNSSEC proofs at read time using the same technology as CCIP read, the same technology as our L2 strategy. We have an implementation that's been fully audited by Code Arena, found 7 medium and 10 low severity issues. None are exploitable as security vulnerabilities. My own view is that they should probably all be rated as low, but nevertheless, we're going to fix the bulk of them except a couple that we feel are invalid. That should be happening this coming month, and then allowing us to deploy to testnets this next quarter, and mainnet deployment the end of the quarter, ideally. Next slide, thank you. So this is part of our wider strategy, which is ENS on L2s, and this also is proceeding apace. We now have off-chain resolvers being used in production. The most famous, of course, is cb.id. We also have lens.xyz or xyz, depending on your preference, which stores its records on Polygon. We have ecc.eth, which uses optimism. Namestone, that's Namestone HQ on Twitter, are offering a commercial service for issuing gasless subdomains on your own domain. And we have a general purpose ENS off-chain registrar contract written by Greg Skrill on the same basis. Client library support continues to improve. Nethereum now supports CCIP read and therefore L2 names. There is middleware for EthasRS that does the same. And L2 resolver prototypes, these are basically the first component of being able to build your own stack trustlessly for your own subdomains, are ready on Optimism pre-Bedrock. It needs updating for the latest updates. Arbitrum and Starknet. We are working on a metadata specification, which is still at the draft stage. The goal here is that if you open a name in, for instance, the ENS manager, it will be able to tell you more about the name than simply resolving it, all the same sort of information it shows for on-chain names. We welcome feedback on that and the best way to integrate off-chain data into off-chain metadata. The Linear team has a testnet implementation of ENS integration at that URL. And finally, Makoto has published a post called Minimum Viable L2, which is going over ENS's, or at least ENS Labs strategy for L2 construction. So how we're going to move gradually from an entirely L1 world to an entirely L2 world. And I highly recommend reading it because it outlines how we plan to gradually migrate things to L2 with a minimum of disruption and a maximum of flexibility. Meanwhile, one of our other developers, Mohammed, has been working on a multi-delegate token contract. What this means is it's a way for you to take your tokens, your ENS DAO tokens, delegate them to multiple people in a single account. So currently, if you had 1,000 tokens and you wanted to delegate them to 10 different delegates, you'd have to have 10 different accounts. With this, you can send them all to the contract and then choose how many are delegated to each delegate, which is great for people wanting to be more actively involved in governance. I also think it's a really fascinating primitive for DAO governance. And, were we relaunching the DAO now, I think this would be a serious contender for how the native token should work. It's also, if you're a bit of a smart contract geek, take a look at how it works, because it's kind of neat. The contracts that the proxy contracts that are actually deployed don't actually have any code. And you can see how that works if you have a look at the code. Next slide, please. We recently deployed a bunch of contract updates. The most familiar of those is the name wrapper, which is now fully deployed and supported by V3. Third parties are developing subdomain registrars for the name wrapper with an ENS demo implementation to come. Our intention here is to make it easy for people to write stuff like this, to provide example code, but we expect a thriving ecosystem of independent operators doing this. Along with that update, we also deployed new registrar updates, which allow setting any record at registration time, not just the ENS record, and also, the address record, and also support setting reverse records at registration time. And we deployed a new reverse registrar, which makes it possible for the owner of a contract using the standard ownable primitive to set primary names on behalf of their contracts. If you have a contract, I'd highly recommend checking this out and giving it a name, because now Etherscan supports primary names for contracts as well as other ways to set primary names, which means that your contracts can all show up with names instead of addresses. Next slide, please. We are seeing an increasing number of integrations and interest from DNS TLDs. .art and .box are actively working on close integration with ENS, including registering names via ENS and ENS ownership controlling the DNS registration, meaning that DNS names for the first time will be tradable on-chain. And we're discussing similar integration opportunities with other TLDs. And finally, we have permission from the DAO to move the bug bounty program, which previously has been ad hoc and run by us at Labs, into Immunify. Immunify have a great track record at administering bounty programs. We've been exploring it with them, quite impressed with the results. This will mostly be sort of an administrative change. It will mean we get more consistent and prompt resolutions to bug reports. And with the increasing number of reports we see means we can make sure that nothing gets dropped on the floor. It may result in some expansion of scope in terms of what contracts are covered, but it will also mostly result in clarifying that and making it very clear to people whether a bug is covered, what they can expect in terms of the bounty and so forth. And we expect to do that this coming quarter. And that's it from me.
Thanks, Nick. A lot happening there. All right, and let's jump down to Dom. There you go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Domiko.eth, or just Dom. So I'm going to give an update on the manager app. I actually had to go back and check this because I lost track of time completely. At the last town hall, we hadn't actually launched yet. We were still on testnet, which surprised me. It feels like it's been live for a lot longer. So the biggest part of this quarter was we launched. It's now mainnet. It is now the primary app. A very quick recap of what we launched. And when we launched. So on April 24th, we launched the new app. It's a complete rebuild, a complete redesign. It includes new functionality for the new contracts, such as name wrapper. And most importantly, it's a new baseline for us. So it's a new foundation for us to build new functionality into and a much more modern code base to build from. And on the note of it being a baseline, I just wanted to like give a bit of a recap on the philosophy of the launch. So it's a big project to relaunch the app completely. So we set ourselves the goal of parity. So new app, same features. We were trying to reach feature parity with the previous application and then include new functionality around the name wrapper. We obviously had a lot of cool ideas. We still have a lot of cool ideas of things we can do and want to do. But we didn't have time for those at launch. So we really set ourselves the parity, the parity goal. And to that point of about it being a baseline, the first version was always going to be the first version. That's what the release is. And now that we have released, we're getting to explore that fun stuff and we're getting to explore some new ideas. A quick little recap of what we've done since the launch. So it was the April 24th launch, so 2 more months. Here's a couple of things. This isn't all of them. So we have some pretty significant primary name improvements in the app. It is now much easier to find a name that you can set as your primary name. There is some pretty specific requirements for a name to be usable as your primary name. Previously, it was hard to find which names met those requirements, and it was hard to find what steps were required to make a name meet those requirements. That should all be much simpler now. I've got some tweet threads in here to read. There's also gas savings because we're trying to be more efficient on that, which is nice. We added in-app support with intercom. So now we've got the little blue bubble in the corner where you can search the FAQs, search the docs, and get some quick help there and reach out to support directly. We integrated email reminders through Earnify, another great partnership we had this quarter. This was quite an exciting one and has brought some much needed expiry reminder functionality to the app. And then a bunch more things. There's a whole lot more stuff that I didn't include here. There's a lot of medium-sized features, I'd call them, such as like wrapping and unwrapping names directly, which weren't initially in there. And then there's just a ton of bug fixes. So we're starting to, as the front-end team, we're starting to do these monthly updates because there is just so much happening per month. So I've linked to the tweet that discusses that, and you can find those on our ens.mirror.xyz. We have those monthly updates. It's worth looking at. I didn't actually count all the bugs because I got to like 20 and I was like, this list is too long. There was a bunch of bugs in there. It's worth even just browsing through them just to see the scope. Yeah. But yeah, looking to the next quarter and further, to that point about there being quite a few bugs. Sorry, Khori, just to the next one. To that point about there being quite a few bugs, there was a bunch of bugs before launch, after launch. We had that very large bug bash, which was super helpful. We found a lot of stuff in there, but we've really wound down on those. Like we've found all the serious ones so far that have been reported, and we've squashed most of them. We've also squashed the bulk of the non-serious ones, and that means that we're able to shift into this new gear that I was mentioning earlier of like working from that baseline. We can start focusing on new functionality, bringing in some improved old functionality, things like that. So our primary focus now moving forward is to build the app in cool new ways, and we're exploring some new functionality. You may have seen some prototypes floating around recently that we're looking at different ways of showing and managing ownership. That's a potentially pretty significant change that we're working through. We're also working on bringing back highly requested features. So registration for less than a year is coming back. We are bringing it back in a hopefully more usable way because not many people know what 0.4 of a year is. Certainly, I know I don't know what 0.4 of a year from today is. So we're bringing that back in a much more usable way. And then we're just exploring some other really cool stuff. There's some cool things in the works that I don't want to promise too much, but I am exploring in the design stage.
Great. All right. Thanks so much, Dom. The V3 and the name wrapper was a huge lift, and I think it looks so much more beautiful, so much more functional, and just a better user experience. And on this note, in terms of focusing on new features, if you go to the website, ens.domains, roadmap, you'll be able to see a roadmap. So I know this is something that the community has been talking about for a while. So we wanted to provide some visibility into what we've worked on, what we're currently working on, and what's coming up next. So on this site, you can see some of the major upgrades that we've had. We're not going to include every single piece of code change that we've done, but just some of the major ones. So at the top of the page, you can see what's been completed. Then we move into a section where you have the work that's in progress, and that will push to production in the next quarter or couple quarters. And then in the up next section, these are the things that are percolating and that we're preparing to build. One of the most important pieces on this site is, you'll see in the upper right-hand side, a feature request button. And this is where we're going to be soliciting your input here. Very curious and interested in new features, ideas that the community has for us that we can add to our work stream.
Alicia might want to add to the feature request piece.
Oh, yeah.
The feature request is going to a whole new Canny site. So Canny is an application. I think it's ens.canny.io, maybe. But the feature request button, okay, cool. Feature request button will take you there. So it is it's a feature request forum effectively. So you can go there, you can request features, report bugs, all that sort of stuff. But you can also up or down vote other people's requests. So the idea here is that we really want to start bringing that community voice much closer and also together. I think previously we've collected features very individually, feature requests very individually, where we sort of talk to people privately or get them to contact us privately. Now you'll be able to see what other people are requesting and jump on board, discuss those features, how they might work, how they might not work, all of that sort of good stuff.
Fantastic. All right, team. Thank you. And Alicia, we're done. Back to you.
I have one more announcement.
One more.
Sorry,
okay.
There's always something. Okay, so one more announcement for you guys. I did just release a tweet from the main ENS accounts, so at ENS Domains. We are going to be hosting an event during ETHCC in Paris, which is next month, July, from the 17th until the 20th. So we will be co-hosting an event with our wonderful DAO team, and I'm very excited about it. We have craft cocktails, there'll be good food, so you guys can come out, meet a bunch of the ENS team. We're going to be there. The DAO will be there. So if you guys are going to be in ETHCC, if you're going to be in Paris, make sure that you sign up. It is a ticketed event, but I'm trying to approve people as quickly as I can. So check it out and let me know if you have any questions. My DMs are open. And that's all I've got.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Labs team, and really excited about all of those links. And we will also, after this, when we do the notes, put links into the YouTube description so everyone will be able to go everywhere. And also, if you don't already follow ENS Domains on Twitter, you should do that. And I see Slobo, who is just on the stage now, is basically live tweeting this event. I feel like you should put your handle in the chat, Slobo, so that people can follow along. But thank you so much. And now we are going to hear from the working groups. And okay, just give me 1 second and I will just shuffle everyone around. Okay, here we go. So I was just bringing up Santi. Is he a panelist? Does anyone see him? We might have to try that again. And Colton. Oh no, Santi's here. Wait. Colton. Okay, I see Colton. Hooray. Oh, and also I'm going to try to bring up Daylon. Okay, so I just want to give a bit of context quickly, just before we move into the next section. So the working groups are basically like another bubble of people that work on ENS that are funded by the ENS DAO. So the ENS Labs team is funded by the DAO, and then there are 3 working groups that are also funded by the DAO, and they are meta-governance, public goods, and ENS ecosystem. I wonder why. Does anyone else see Colton, or is it just me that he's missing for? Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. Great. And so we have we have the lead stewards here, and we also have a couple of kind of working group specific presentations. So Santi from Karpatkey and also Daylon from the newsletter. Okay, so we'll hopefully hear from them. So Katherine, I will hand it over to you. You should be able to present. If you can't, let me know.
Can you hear me?
Yes, and we'll hear
Okay.
from Meta Governance first.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Let me try to share my screen. All right, can everyone see this window? Okay, thank you. Okay, amazing. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Q2 ENS Town Hall. I'm Katherine. I'm the lead steward of the Meta Governance Working Group. So as a reminder, and along with myself, we have Simona and Nick, who are also part of this work. We're also stewards of this working group.
Oh, just Katherine, just before you carry on, is it possible to take it into like slide mode or something, or?
It's a PDF, so I think
okay.
it's, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
No, that's all good.
Okay. I didn't want to okay, anyways, moving on. So as a refresher of what the Meta Governance Group does, so we are responsible for providing governance oversight and supporting the management and operations of working groups through DAO tooling and governance initiatives, as well as treasury management for the DAO. We have weekly Meta-Gov working group meetings. Everyone is welcome. They're held usually at 11 a.m. ET time on Tuesdays. So a quick recap of meta governance in Q2, high-level recap. So first, we had 0 executable proposals in Q2. Yay, DAO minimalism. This is a good thing. We had 2 social votes. So we had EP 3.6. This was the foundation director vote and election that go into Alex. And we had EP 3.7, the name and normalization standard that passed. And of course, last but not least, we have new stewards for term 2 that starts next week. So the election results were in for the 3 different working groups. So for ENS ecosystem for next term, it's Slobo, Limes, and 184. For Meta-Gov, it's Nick, Spence, and myself. And for public goods, it's Colton, Simona, and Eduardo. So congratulations to all the incoming stewards. Look forward to hearing from some new voices in the next town hall. Okay, so that's a high-level recap. Now, one of the very important things that we do, obviously, is oversee the treasury management. And today we actually have Karpatkey talking, but I think I'm gonna have Karpatkey present after me just to make logistics a little bit easier. So I'm going to do a really quick, high level recap, and Sandy's going to go into all the details later. So we are 6 months into deployment of the ENS endowment. We have about 30, actually a little bit over 30 mil deployed. It's half of the allotted endowment size. We're sitting at 99.95 capital utilization with APR at about 2.78. And like I said earlier, Santi's going to go into more details later. I just wanted to provide the recap. The source of this is from the Karpatkey weekly reports. Actually, no, I'm going to talk about this. Yes. If you want to get up-to-date information here, so there's a couple ways to do that. First and foremost, the forums, obviously, but also in every single weekly Meta-Gov call, we actually have on the Karpatkey and also Steakhouse team to live answer any Q&A that you have. So aside from going to the forum to get up-to-date information, they also share both weekly and monthly reports. And if you want to get live question Q&A, come to our calls. They're always here. They're responsive on both fronts. So that's the best way to get up-to-date information. Steakhouse's monthly reports also actually goes into a balance sheet for the ENS DAO in general, so not just the endowment. So that's definitely very, very worth to check out. So just a plug for that. Now I'm going to keep this short because Santi's going to go after me. So aside from the endowment, something else that Meta-Gov oversees is also DAO tooling and also governance initiatives. So anything that makes the experience easier for folks who want to participate in governance. So a couple of things that we have/are doing this quarter. So we have we're still sponsoring gasless delegations via Tally, and this includes redelegation. So you can delegate or redelegate your tokens gas-free on Tally. So that's one of the things. And the second thing is gas reimbursement for all on-chain governance proposals starting from November 2021 to present using ETHBack, which is a tool that Greg built. So this is implementing imminently, I think literally like as I speak. And so at the end, we're going to be able to refund to 1,855 voters and over 3,000 transactions. And so all of these will be refunded back if you have participated in governance from November 2021 to today. So it's amazing. And like, I think that's going to be a really good, you know, anything that lowers the barrier to entry for governance is a good thing. So that I'm very excited to see go live. And last but not least, of course, we sponsor DAO specific events and hackathons. So like DAO Tokyo or like Aragon DAO hackathons, like anything that I think is like for the better improvement of DAOs in general, we're happy to support and sponsor. So with that, I'm going to keep it short and sweet and wrap up my section. Thank you, everybody. My DMs are always open. If you have any questions, come on our Tuesday calls, and I hope to see you at one of these calls. Alicia, I don't know if you want me to pass it back to you or if I should just pass it to Santi directly.
That was amazing. You can just keep it going. Let's just keep it going.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, Santi from Karpatkey, is our endowment fund manager, is here today. He's going to give a more in-depth view of the endowment, the performance, and yeah, past, present, and future. So Santi, I am going to hand it over to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? So, okay, yes. Yeah. All right. So thanks for having us today. We're excited to be here. Today, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the progress on the ENS endowment. So just a quick recap. Karpatkey and Stakehouse Financial were jointly selected to manage the ENS endowment. This was back in November. Yeah, time flies, actually. So Karpatkey focuses on managing the endowment and provides operational reporting on a weekly basis, whereas Stakehouse Financial provides financial reporting on a monthly basis. This is what we do. Following EP 3.4, the first tranche of the endowment was seeded with 16K ETH on March 8th, and that was the official beginning of the endowment. So before I'm gonna kick off with the financial reporting, this is handled by our friends at Stakehouse Financial. Just a very brief conclusion from their latest report. As Katherine said, all the reports are on the forum, so feel free to search for them and ask any questions or provide any feedback. So as of today, the ENS DAO is currently showing healthy and sustainable financial metrics. Revenues are higher than cash burn. Cash in is higher than cash burn. And comparing the cash burn to the reserves, which are mainly composed of ETH and USDC, the DAO currently has 97 months of runway, which is very healthy and sustainable. Okay, now to the operational side of the endowment. So this is, I'm going to tell you a little bit what we did from the beginning till now. So in accordance with the DAO's mandate, the earned ETH portion that we received was converted into stablecoins, while the unearned ETH remained unchanged. So as of the date of the latest report published last Monday, ETH is now around 57% of the endowment holdings, whereas stablecoins are around 43%. In the category others, you might find reward tokens. Now it's that are negligible compared to the amount of stablecoins and the ETH held by the endowment. Okay, so what did we do with those two different buckets? So stablecoins were allocated to USD neutral strategies, while the ETH was allocated to ETH neutral strategies. These are like two different buckets. We manage them differently and we measure them against each underlying token, let's say stablecoins or ETH. You know, so In this graph, you can see the composition of the endowment, the allocation according to each strategy. This is, again, as per the last report. Now, today, ETH stated on Lido is the main position, which represents around 29%. Then this is followed by DAI on Compound B2, which is around 25%. The third position is a pool that we provided liquidity to on Aura, which is RAV/Stake and Rapid, which represents around 23%. The fourth is USDC on Compound B2. This is 18%. And the last one is another pool on Curve made by Stake and Rapid, which is around 6%. Just recall that we started with a subset of strategies, and the decision was to fund the endowment with 50% of the intended funds. So this is what we have whitelisted at the beginning. And then our intention is to continue growing the amount of strategies that are allowed by the DAO. I will tell you more about this in a few seconds. So these are the metrics. I think Katherine showed most of them, but as of today, non-custodial assets under management are 30 million with capital utilization of around 100%. Projected annual revenue is 836K as of today with an APR of 2.78. In response to evolving market conditions that are impacting the APR and revenue, we are now seizing the opportunity to diversify our strategies. This means that from the beginning of the endowment till now, APR or yields that can be obtained on DeFi have been trending down. So we are evaluating how to diversify the strategy, of course, keeping in mind the endowment's long-term goal, which is, helping the ENS DAO to be here for the next 5, 10, 50 years. So that's the goal. We are not working to get 1% extra yield in the short term. The vision here is long-term oriented. So having said this, we are actively developing and introducing new features. The first one is new permissions to adapt to changing market conditions. With regard to this, yesterday we posted a proposal on the forum. Please check it out. The information is over there. But basically, we are requesting the ENS DAO to whitelist 15 new actions. Most of them were originally included in the proposal that led to the selection of Karpatkey and Steakhouse Financial. There are some tweaks, migrations, and some other stuff, but it's all in the proposal. Feel free to check it out and ask any questions. Also, our tech team is working on new infra and new integrations jointly with other teams. This is probably, they are developing a new version of the Zodiac roles modifier, which is probably, this is technical stuff. It's not going to show in the surface, but it's very important for our daily work. So basically a new version of the roles modifier is coming, some new integrations such as cow swap. This allows us to manage the endowment in a non-custodial way, which was a key thing at the time of presenting the proposal. Okay, third, new dashboards are coming in, 2 announcements here. First, we are going to switch to a monthly report, and it's going to be a web report. We're going to post a text on the forum explaining this, but basically now we are going to publish monthly reports that are in line with the frequency of the Steakhouse reports. And also we are working on new dashboards to show some information that we believe is going to add value to the ENS DAO. So stay tuned for those updates as well. So everything I have said so far leads me to the last point, which is that our plan is to request to scale up the endowment. This was part of the original plan. If you recall, we started asking for 50% of the funds, and the plan was to ask for the remaining funds 6 months later. So that's going to happen in September. So you'll hear from us around that time. Again, communicating the progress of the endowment and asking for hopefully moving forward to the next stage. So that's pretty much it from my side. Again, all the information is on the forum. You feel free to contact us. We are ready to answer your questions, to receive your feedback. And as Katherine said, we are always part of the Meta-Gov calls on Tuesdays. So feel free to join and bring your questions.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Santi, and also Katherine from Meta-Gov. It's a great Meta-Gov update. So next up, we are going to hear from Coltron.eth about the public goods working group, which have had a very active term, and excited to hear updates. So are you okay to share?
Yeah, I'm just going to get that set up here.
Cool.
Let's see.
I wonder, does Santi need to stop sharing, or?
I'm going to override him.
Okay,
Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
That's not showing notes or anything? That's actually great. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're good.
So to kick it off, I'm Coltron.eth. I am the lead public goods steward with the ENS DAO. We have two other stewards currently. That's Eduardo Vega and Alex Vandesan. They also have been serving this past term with me. So what do we do in public goods? Just broadly speaking, we are focused on funding, projects that affect the broader Ethereum ecosystem. And those projects are specifically not building on ENS. Looking back on this term, trying to think of the theme that we kind of just organically came to, and that's been just growing the grant opportunities from this working group. I think there was a lot of room to grow and just give some additional and kind of more diverse grants out there. I think we traditionally focused on Gitcoin and a few other initiatives, but this term we started off with two new grant opportunities. Those were the growth grants and the large grants. These had their own, unique kind of outcomes, but starting off with the growth grants, this was discussed early this term, a way to graduate the small grants winners, specifically the repeat winners, onto kind of a larger, grants platform to give them, just a more significant amount, and also make room for the other grants, the new grantees that are applying that may have less visibility. So with that, we had the growth grants. This had over 30 submissions. We selected 5 winners for a total of 50K USDC. The 5 winners were Dapnode, Revoke.cash, Gashawk, EVM CRISPR, Ethereum Guatemala. These were repeat winners we saw, throughout the past 8 months of our growth grants or small grants. And I'm super happy to see them. I think this actually targeted grants. These are them. 4 of these were projects that had seen multiple wins. So really happy with that outcome there. The next one was large grants. And this was a much more significant amount of funding. And the goal here was just to be a pathway for foundational public goods in the Ethereum or Web3 ecosystem to request a more significant amount of funding from our working group. Offering 1 ETH and 10 ETH, 10 USDC, 10K USDC is not a whole lot to chew on. So we really wanted to kind of open the doors and experiment with a much more significant amount. We had over 40 submissions, 4 winners were selected, and a total of 200K USDC was awarded. The winners, I think you'll recognize some of these names: Ethereum Cat Herders, Shifi, WAGMI, and then Token Engineering Academy from the Token Engineering Commons. These really are the foundational public goods that we want to target. Really happy to see these in our pool and also be selected by the stewards. I think Ethereum Cat Herders, WAGMI, those specifically have had really great impact. When I think about public goods, a lot of them go, unnoticed. And WAGMI, for example, has a massive amount of GitHub downloads, has stars, out the back door. And it's something that if it went away, it would affect us. very deeply, and I'm really glad to see that we could give them funding. You know, in addition to this, we still kept up our small grants funding. This has been something that has started really around a year ago. The conversation on small grants started and was put into place, I believe, in September or August of last year. So we kept this running. This program, you know, we had 5 rounds. We distributed 30 total. And in April, we saw one of the largest, you know, small grants, you know, amount of submissions in ecosystem or public goods. And that was 49 proposals in April. So really happy to see that interest. I think this really kind of aligns with my broad goal for the working group. And that is to just generate, you know, kind of a buzz and to draw awareness that, you know, ENS wants to distribute, you know, grants to the public goods space. And I think this is a really great entryway to that, and I'm really happy to see that continuing. Looking forward, we will be reviewing some of these grant processes. Next term, I want to kind of sit down and kind of focus on what is working, looking at, you know, small grants specifically, large grants and growth grants. Maybe refine some of the numbers and see what we can improve, what isn't working, and you know, kind of throw out what the old and bring in the new there. Looking forward also this term, we just had an election. Simona Pop will be joining us, which she is a powerhouse in the public good space. So I think she's going to be a great asset to our team. Really sad to see Alex Van de Sand go. He as well is prolific. He doesn't really need an introduction, but excited to start the next term. I would say keep an eye on the forum. We're looking at some new public goods bounties. That's still in development, but I do expect an RFP to go up this next quarter. So please check that out. Keep an eye on the forum. Eduardo and myself from the Public Goods Working Group will be at Funding the Commons in Paris. So please stop by and see us if you're in Paris. We'd love to chat public goods and just communicate with the community. You know, and again, want to see involvement, want to meet people, and want to keep, you know, the ENS, you know, public goods narrative growing. So please join our calls. I think they're a really relaxed, you know, way to just to come chat. We love to share ideas. We keep space for project presentations, but we also like to discuss, you know, hot topics. We don't mind that, and we actually encourage it. So the schedule for that will be posted next term. So really next week, please join us. And I think that's all, Alicia.
Incredible. Thanks so much, Colton. And next up, we have slobo.eth or Alex, who will be presenting on the ENS Ecosystem Working Group. And wait, do we also have Daylon? Okay, Daylon is around, and we're going to try to hear from about the newsletter after that. But Alex, take it away.
Hey, I'm slobo.eth.
Oh wait, your audio is like really far away.
Give me a second.
Okay. I don't know. It still sounds far away to me, but Colton, does it sound normal to you?
No, it sounds a little distant.
All right, give me a second.
It may not be on your AirPods. It sounds like it might be actually on your
system,
your computer. Yeah.
Change input to AirPods, said Greg in the chat.
Yeah, how about now? Is that better?
It's coming in. Can you keep talking?
Yeah. Is that better?
That is
better.
Got it.
All right.
Okay. Well,
all right. So, all right. Can I share the screen? All right. Can I get the ability to share?
Oh, yes. Sorry. There we go.
All right. I gotta put my slobo.eth hat on. Share.
Now
share
we're in
my
business.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do it without it. All right. Welcome, everybody. ENS, I'm slobo.eth, and this is the ENS Ecosystem Working Group. For this term, the other members were Limes and Yambo.eth, and I'm excited to get started here. So what is the goal of the ENS ecosystem? And it's quite simply just to grow it. And the way we do that is by showcasing the work of builders connecting builders with each other, funding them, and also promoting new capabilities for all ENS builders to become aware of. And the reason we do that is because these builders are the ones that are adding utility. DM3, for example, is building the groundwork for L2s in conjunction with ENS Labs. And every little bit of help helps, because that's the only way that the fees are going to go down. We have builders such as Premm, who's been prolific since the very beginning, who's creating unruggable domain rentals, which is a website that is built on top of NameWrapper, and I think its functionality is only going to increase in time. We have builders like HID, who built 13w.io, which is a basically decentralized link tree. And we have folks like ETH Limo that others have heard of, which is creates a privacy-preserving ENS gateway. The next two are a little bit more technical, but basically a lot of these builders will sometimes add support to libraries like Ethereum, though that might not be a common library that folks on this call are aware of. It is something that lots of other companies use, and we support those builders to adding CCIP functionality and wildcard resolution. Last but not least is we have Jerome B, who created an ENS off-chain resolver gateway in Rust. And currently there was only one implementation out using TypeScript that was done by the core team. So this is showing a kind of decentralization of even the core technology that's being built. That is why ENS Ecosystem Working Group focuses on builders. There's so much being done, and it's being done in a more distributed way. And I am and the other stewards are so excited to support them. Now, since we now all agree that builders are great, how do we source them? And in my opinion, the best way we've done it so far is through the use of hackathons and small grants. The reason hackathons are so effective is because that is where ENS gets to be put out in front of all the talented Ethereum builders, and then they get to get bounties or support or even just be judges. The core team can be judges, and therefore some of the more interesting projects get like highlighted and use cases get innovated right there and then. Historically, we've sponsored things like ETH Global Waterloo, HackFS, ETH Denver, and we have more upcoming and even more coming in the future. I think this is probably some of the biggest bang for the buck that ENS can do. And it only comes close to the next one, which is ENS small grants. Most of these happen monthly, and we give away 0.7 ETH for the top 7 projects. And I think this actually functions as the bat signal, because a lot of times it's not easy to go through the forum process or even hop on a call to become a useful builder in the ecosystem. But if you see that there's just this site that you can submit any project you like and someone's going to vote on it and everybody's going to see it, I think that adds a tremendous amount of value and makes it easy for builders to come in. From then, they can then graduate to get bigger grants, or as been mentioned in prior calls, even get venture capital funding and backing. And that's what's really exciting about sourcing builders through hackathons and small grants. This is not free, but so this is the money that we spent to facilitate hackathons, grants, and bug bounties. What I want to highlight here is something like 70 or 80% of the spend effectively goes directly to builders through through bug bounties, hackathons, and grants. So yeah. And we also have fun through IRL events. And you'll notice that it doesn't even really make it into the budget of how little we spend on that. I think IRL is where those great connections are being made. People have fun, and it shows that, kind of brings that community aspect. And you can see that we've done it in New York. We're going to do that in Paris in conjunction with the ENS core team and Sadaf and Limes running that event. So if you haven't heard about it yet, please reach out to Sadaf or Limes, and we will get you on the list. I'm sure it's going to be a hot commodity. And that is it for me. So I'm sorry, I don't know why I hit that picture there, but anyways, that is it for me. It has been my pleasure, Yambo's pleasure, and Lime's pleasure to support all the talented builders in the ENS ecosystem.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Alex. The ENS ecosystem working group does so much, is like responsible for allocating so much funding as well. And it's a really, really large task. And I think that, you know, the kind of community and ecosystem are indebted to the ecosystem stewards for how often and they go over and above in terms of the time commitment and just everything you do, how much energy you put into everything. So thank you. And next up, we're going to try to hear from Daylon about the newsletter. Okay. Daylon, do you want to? Yes.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you. Can you share whatever you need to share?
Cool. Let's see if I can get it to work.
Oh no. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Is that working?
Yeah, you just like disappeared for a second. I was like, no. Okay, yeah. I can see your screen and I can see you. Okay, I'm gonna disappear.
Can you still hear me?
And I can still hear you.
All right, cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna quickly talk about the newsletter. You've probably heard about it if you've been in ENS for a while. I just threw this slide together pretty quickly in the last few hours, so it's pretty short. Yeah, ENS DAO Newsletter. How it started, you've probably heard. Back in January 2022, I proposed the idea for a subgroup on the governance forum back when we had a ecosystem working group, and everybody liked the idea. So I started it up, and some of you OGs might remember this original aesthetic choice I went with because I'm not very good at graphic design, but yeah, threw that in there for fun. And so here's how it's going. As of this month, we have over 300 subscribers on the English Substack, right across 24 states in over 55 countries. And here's some more information about the countries. We're also translating it into Chinese, German, Portuguese, and Spanish currently. We have some volunteers that do that, and we pay them with the contributions from things like GitHub and the ENS small grants. These rounds here are where we've got a lot of our funding. And so future plans going forward, mostly just want to focus on translating it into more languages because a lot of things don't translate very well through machine translation when it comes to ENS. So we have people in the community that volunteer to do that. I say volunteer, but we offer them $100 per translation. And I think that's pretty fair. And I really like being able to empower. Yeah, I really like being able to empower people who want to help spread the word. And this is where we've received funding so far. You can check the ENS DAO.eth wallet if you want to see all the details to where it's going. And the last slide is just our team, editors in chief, me and Marcus. There's our translators. Bob Jang translated into Chinese for like 10 editions before even wanting any payment first. So that was really cool of him. And then we were able to retroactively pay him with a grant we got from one of the ENS small grants rounds. There's the contact information, and this is the last slide. So that's about all there is to it, unless anybody has any questions.
Incredible. Thank you so much, and for prepping the slides, and glad that we got to see and hear you. Okay, so that wraps up basically the ecosystem or the working group part of the call, and kind of like the ecosystem working group section. And now we're going to move into ecosystem projects. And the first project that we're going to hear from is and the person is Josh from Dotbox. And I don't know if people remember, but when we tweeted about the Dotbox integration from the ENS domain site, ENS domain's Twitter account, it was like extremely popular. I think maybe Nick tweeted it. And yeah, so really excited for the community to learn a little bit more about Dotbox. And then I will also just tease our next speaker as well. We'll have Andrew, the CEO of Skiff, because they have also had a very incredible Q2. And so we're excited to hear about their ENS integration and the work that they're doing as well. But Josh, let me just make you a co-host, and you should be able to share. And then, wonderful.
Are you good? Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it. I can hear you. Good to go.
All right. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk about DotBox. We're very excited about it. I'm going to quickly as possible, kind of remind you of some of the launch details that people are already aware of, and then give you some more details. So who's the team behind this? Where have we come from? Share some information about the product, share some of our current thoughts on pricing. And I know there's some questions out there, so I want to start the discussion, continue it anyway, about this idea of an acceptable use policy. So let's see if I can start flipping through now. Yeah, so we're targeting a launch of September 13th. The format will be a Dutch auction. I'll give you some more details about that in the pricing slide. The way you will purchase DotBox domain names will be through the registrar app hosted at my.box. And we will be launching with all lengths available. So anywhere from 1 to 63 characters, and characters will be A to Z and 0 to 9. So no emojis, unfortunately, but those aren't supported in our world as much as they are in yours. So DotBox won't be able to support those, but they'll have everything else. And the people involved and the companies involved. So My.box Inc. is the project partnering with Intercap Registry, which is the registry operator of DotBox. In the ICANN sense, obviously, we're choosing to launch this on the Ethereum name service because we're here with you today. And then there's a company and group out there called 3DNS Inc., which we're partnering with. And I would say they're providing the domain tokenization. Very, very innovative technology there. I'll talk to you a little bit about how we got partnered up with 3DNS Inc. Sorry. And then, of course, there will be a layer 2 involved, but that exact one will be to be announced shortly, hopefully soon. So yeah, I just wanted to talk. I mean, we've been working on this. I've been working on this for 10 years. It's like I've been working on it for 10 years now. We're here. We're just getting started. I feel like we became an applicant for TLDs in 2012, signed the DotBox registry agreement in 2015, signed the .inc registry agreement in 2018. We launched .inc. So if you want a traditional .inc domain name, you can get those anywhere. And it was in 2020 we started researching blockchain domains. 21 first met with ENS. Brandley, and then later Nick, and then that's when things started tying together for us, that there was a really, really interesting opportunity here, and that the things you guys are working on is incredible, and in some ways, you know, just the thing that the domain name industry needed. And that's when we started thinking that this would be a great application for DotBox. And then April 23 met a gentleman named Paul Gavreau from a company called 3DNS, who was thinking very much along the same lines. And he is a very talented full stack blockchain developer. And so we made a seed investment in 3DNS in April 23. And here we are 2 months out, essentially, from launching this product, which in a way we've been working on for a decade, but you know, very much more aggressively in the last year. And what is the product, right? So I think there are really 3 key differentiators that I would talk about. And in some cases versus .eth, it's the same. And in some cases versus .com, it's the same. But I think the magic for us is happening where we're trying to pick the strongest components of both worlds. And so, you know, I think what I want to talk about is this idea of sort of like what we're doing differently maybe than what other Web 2, Web 3 integrations are talking about. And so number 1, we're blockchain native. And so that means that changes to the domain require possession of the NFT, and that all box domain names will be configured this way. So there are no other, we're launching very first right from day one in this context, and you trade, and if you trade the NFT, you'll essentially be trading ownership and control of the domain name. And .box domain names will not be able to be unwrapped. So that's a pretty big differentiator, I think, from some of the other Web 2 projects that are working on Web 3 integrations.
The NFT owner will need to sign transactions. So to set or update all your name records, such as text records, avatars, or IPFS records. Also traditional domain records, such as CNAME, A records, and MX records. And what that means is that your .box domain name will be traded securely and efficiently, like NFTs, could be used for your DID, and can also be used to resolve decentralized websites, as well as traditional websites and emails. So here's just a representative screenshot of our current product, which is not in production in any sense, but it just gives you the idea that very similar to the way that you would work with the existing ENS app, same as will happen on my.box. And one of the key differences is that you'll be able to update actual DNS records and configure your .box domain name to work with email and web and websites, and that those updates will require a signature. Want to talk to you very quickly about what we're thinking on pricing. So this is the Dutch auction mechanism, and the thought is that the price on drop will have every day for 6 days until it reaches $120, which is where it will stay. And that will be for the Dutch auction mechanism will affect the registration price, and the 120 will be the renewal price. This will be the same for all words, all strings, whether it's one character, whether it's a generic keyword, whether it's 63 characters, will be the same price. And that this same Dutch auction drop mechanism will happen on day one of the TLD launch, and will happen again if any names don't get renewed, go back into inventory and get recycled through to be released to the public. Again, we'll go through exactly the same pricing mechanism. And lastly, I set my timer. I actually just ran out, but I'll be very quick now. I'm over my 5 minutes, but by 1 minute, I hope you'll agree. The next topic is this acceptable use policy, which I know there's been some discussion about, and really my comment there is that we are an ICANN regulated registry, and so people doing bad things will lose their .box domain name, and there will be kind of two components to that. So the registry will have an abuse policy, and we'll have to be adjudicating claims of abuse that relate to these topics on the slide, such as spam, malware, or any other forms of illegal content. And the other thing is that we will be subject to the UDRP, and so we will be following court orders. And again, I think that it's about people doing bad things, and I think that this will not be an issue for 99.9% of the users. And our intent is to manage this in a transparent fashion, with the goal of making .box a well-functioning service for the majority of people. And I think that this will continue to evolve and develop as we launch and as we find out how people are using it. So thank you very much for the time. And if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to reach out. The two key people here on the slide, I'm Josh Brandley and Paul Gavreau, founder of 3DNS. Both of us would be happy to hear from anybody in the community that want to talk more.
Incredible. Thanks so much, Josh. And I'm sure everyone is happy for you to go over your time and share all the important parts about .box and the integration with ENS. And yeah, I think everyone's really excited about watching you lead the way here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the support. So yeah, stay tuned. We've got 2 months, lots of work, and it's going to be awesome.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks so much. And next up, we have Andrew from Skiff. Andrew, do you have co-hosting permissions and you can share?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think I'm good. I'll
Wonderful.
share my screen.
Cool.
Great to meet everyone. I'm Andrew. I'm Skiff's co-founder and CEO, and we're actually talking to Josh later today about how we can make our products work well together. So I'm glad we're both able to present today as well. So yeah, thanks for the quick introduction. For everyone who doesn't know, Skiff is an end-to-end encrypted private workspace. So it's designed to help people communicate, work together, and collaborate freely. In the world today, there are far too many ads, anti-private services that are selling, monetizing, and using our data, and very few things, very few services we can actually trust to guarantee the freedoms and rights that we really expect in the physical world. So we're very aligned with all the visions of owning your own data and reinforcing freedom in every way possible. So Skiff supports 4 products: Skiff Mail, Skiff Pages, so collaborative notes, Skiff Drive, end-to-end encrypted files that you can store on IPFS, and Skiff Calendar. And so the thing we're really excited about to share today is our biggest product, which is Skiff Mail, which basically lets anyone sign up and communicate using an Ethereum wallet, but then also with an ENS name. And there's all sorts of extensions that are really cool around subdomains and .docs and other things coming up soon. So yeah, right now you can sign up for free with just a username and a password or your wallet, and basically then get this free, really cool email address with your ENS name. So I don't know if we own bud.eth, but we own skiff.eth, and I own my last name, milich.eth. And so you can contact me either at that ens@skiff.com or at the cool tld ethereum.email. And the awesome thing is that, when you sign up for Gmail or Outlook or another service, you're basically, renting. It's the whole narrative of renting versus owning online. So you're renting that, whatever at gmail.com address from Google. They own it, they can control it. And we've seen tons of reports, people get shut down, they put, photos in their Google Drive, and then all of a sudden your account is locked. And so you just realize that there are very few places on the internet where you actually own your memories and your history and the way you communicate. And emails, maybe next to ENS, email is one of the most important identifiers we use online. Unfortunately, you still need it to log into services. So when you use your ENS on Skiff, you're not renting that. We basically, whenever you receive an email or send that email, we'll resolve that ENS to a wallet. We'll make sure that that has properly authenticated, ownership of that domain in real time. And then we will send and receive that email. So if you buy an ENS name, you transfer an ENS name, you also own that email address through Skiff. So it opens up all sorts of possibilities. You want a Figma account through your ENS name, or a Notion account, or even a Dropbox account or something else. You want to join a forum, now you get to use your ENS name. So yeah, I guess this is just a little more on our compose window, but when you're communicating, you can communicate with any other email service, whether it's another Skiff user, and just their ENS name, or you want to email a Gmail address or receive email from a Gmail address or a mailing list. So it's really bridging that, ENS identity that you own to use, let's say, dApps and more services, with the millions of services that exist online where you need an email address. So yeah, I'll just give a quick bit of info. We make it really easy to switch. Given how important domain names are, whether it's .box or an ENS name, we now offer a custom domain transfer for free. And then you can import, all sorts of other files, and they're all end-to-end encrypted. So Skiff doesn't know anything about you. We don't collect any personal information when you sign up. And the awesome thing is that a wallet is just a cryptographic identifier. So, end-to-end encryption and privacy really go hand in hand with, wallet and ownership and all of that. So we're Skiff, skiff.com, and skiff.eth. And yeah, please, submit any questions, put them in the chat, and, happy to cover anything else. I realized that was pretty quick. So, feel free to, take back the extra time, or if there's any questions I can help with, please let me know.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Andrew. And I think it's really exciting for everyone, when we stay in like our Web3 crypto Twitter bubble, to see like the integrations that you have with like huge companies outside of Web3. I think that is just like really positive news and bullish for everyone in the space. And it's really cool to see the work that Skiff is doing.
Thank you. Very appreciative of that. And, would love any product feedback. So we're super excited by this. This is probably, the ENS integration is probably the coolest thing we built, alongside a lot of cool features with encrypting and decrypting data with your wallet. That is like one of the most exciting areas, I think, in the Ethereum community right now, alongside, subdomains and name wrapper and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that, now I see actually more people, whenever I see people drop emails, actually, I feel maybe it's just like in all the forms that I send out, I see like many Skiff emails with ENS names. So yay.
That's so awesome to hear.
Cool. Okay, so thank you so much. And I wonder if we have Slobo. I can't see Slobo's video, but wait, we do. Okay, so we're going to go Slobo and then Matt from Vision. So Slobo, do you want to take it away and tell us all about Namestone?
Absolutely. Give me just 1 second.
Cool.
All right, can everybody see my screen? Yes. All right, I'm slobo.eth. I'm also the founder of Namestone. And what is Namestone? It solves the greatest problem of ENS, which is ENS is great, but it's expensive. And mostly because of gas. It costs money to set text records. It costs money to create avatars, and it costs money to set subdomains. And I really don't think that price should be a reason why folks can't have an ENS. With Namestone, kind of powered by CCIP read, we can have your text records set for $0, your avatar set for $0. You want to register a subdomain? $0. I know it's getting repetitive, but if you want to do 100, it's $0. So that's the basis of Namestone, but I think seeing it in action is even more exciting. So let's say you wanted to have a subdomain of favecities.eth. Well, you can come to our site and you can decide that ENS is my favorite city. You can claim it, you can edit your text records, and everybody knows that live demos always work perfectly. You complete it, and the moment that you do, this will resolve everywhere that ENS resolves. So you can go and you can see your ENS profile page, and you see that Namestone is here, the Google Chicago. But what's even better is I just created one, but let's say you're a company. You might want to create all your favorite cities programmatically. So what you can do is we offer an API, and this is Python, and I know this is a little code centric, but all you have to do is run through it. It's this easy. And all of a sudden, if it's Paris you want, Paris you got, and with an image, or whether that could be Chicago. You can create these subdomains that all work. And the other component that once you do that, we give you a kind of summary page of, Chicago, DC, ENS, and all of these have these gasless text records that can be updated. And let's say you change your mind and you want to revoke some of those. Well, that's easy to do as well. And now I just revoked them all. And let's say you wanted to remove that capability from someone, you can. And that information is basically gone. It takes a little moment for the avatar to update, but now this won't resolve anymore. So this is Namestone. It's basically taking the technology of CCIP read and making it available for any business that wants it. So if you're interested, whether in the claim process or the API product, please reach out to me. I'm Alex Slobodnik on Twitter, and you can also follow Namestone HQ. So thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to spread the power of ENS in a costless way. You're on mute, Alicia.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say thank you so much. And I feel like this must be the beginning of what feels like an L2, like ENS focus for the next quarter. I know that now that the name wrapper is out and the new manager is up, a lot of people, including Vitalik, are talking about ENS on L2s. So it's so exciting to see so many projects moving in that direction along with ENS Labs. So yeah, great.
Thank you.
Cool. So next up we have Matt Garcia from ENS Vision, another team that had an insane quarter with all of the updates. I know your team has been working really hard over the last probably like 6 to 9 months actually to ship everything that you have shipped in Q2. And so very excited to hear about Vision updates from you, Matt.
Thank you so much, Alicia, for inviting us, and thank you, team. First of all, that project, Namestone and Box Domains, look absolutely awesome. So very exciting about them, and all the other two, Skiff too. Yes, indeed, it's been quite a busy last few months. And I think same as for you, right, with the name wrapper. For us, it's been like such a paradigm change, and we've had to change so many things. So it's been quite busy. So the first thing in the news department that I think it's very interesting for us at ENS Vision, but it also reflects very positively on ENS. The first piece of news that we had 3 months ago is that we got our first investment round from venture capital. It was one confirmation, and we got $2 million in the middle of the bear market. And I think it's very interesting because actually this investment fund, one confirmation said that it was a way of getting exposure to ENS. And I think that's very interesting that because venture capital, they don't spend $2 million lightly, right? And that in the middle of the crypto bear, the NFT bear, and even the ENS bear, because we had a very nice period from May 2022 until the end of 2022. But when they decided to invest that money in ENS, it was in the current bear, ENS bear, no? In which the volume of registrations and secondary has gone down. So in that sense, I just wanted to say that was good news for us, but also shows how bullish people are on the future of ENS. And then the second thing is that we have started a podcast series that is called the Web3 Vision. And it's a little bit of an attempt to spread the conversation of ENS a bit beyond ENS heads and ENS-centric Web3 people, and have other people from other ecosystems and other parts of Web3 also talk about identity and introduce ENS in the conversation of the whole Web3, because ENS has the strongest, I think, especially in number of people involved, community in Web3, but sometimes it's a bit isolated from other parts of the Web3 world. And this podcast series is an attempt to create bridges of conversation. And then the main news in terms of utility and things that you can do with our marketplace is that we are the first marketplace that have fully integrated the name wrapper and subnames and information about subnames. And I can very quickly, how many minutes I have left? I can very quickly share my screen, but it's going to be super quick.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, so. Yes, so if you see it here, we have in our marketplace, you can see all the listings, and you can now see just the wrapped. You can filter by wrapped and by subnames. No, so instead of seeing all the names, you can just see names that are wrapped with the new name wrapper, and you can also see not only names that are wrapped, but names that are subnames. And then when you visualize any subname, you get extra information about the type of subname it is in a very user-friendly way. For example, with just one paragraph summarizing the complexity of the permissions, right? Because the permissions are a bit complex. So in just one paragraph, you learn that this, for example, is one of those ruggable subnames. But if it was an unlimited or forever subname, it would say that there too. Next, the other thing that we have is that you can make, and this is, I think, the only place maybe where you can do this on the internet, is that you can make any name you own submintable. So we invented that term, submintable. That means that anybody else can mint subs from your name. So you can, for example, if I go here, I have Moroccans.eth. If I click on it, since it's already wrapped, I see this this icon and set subname config. And here I can decide if I want to let people submit for free or for a price. And I think that's very interesting when you want people to either for a profit or for free, let them create subnames. And finally, and I finish, I promise, is an example of this already taking place, the subname leaderboard, in which you can see already people who has set their domains as submintable. These people is free. Most of them are doing it for free, but these collections, for example, every time you want to mint a subname under collections, you have to pay $1. And it's a nice way of stimulating people for doing it and creating subnames and letting other people create subnames, and try to promote the subname utility. And I finish here. Sorry if I have overextended. Thank you so much for letting us make this update.
Incredible. No one minds at all if you run over. Just as you were showing us a subname leaderboard, I saw like a subname that I wouldn't mind, a name that I wouldn't mind a subname of, and I just pulled up Vision on my other tab.
Awesome.
So glad you took the time to show us everything, and it's incredible work. I know that, you know, so much time and energy goes into contract rewrites, and it's a really big deal. And to match it with, you know, the UX and the front end that you guys have is really an incredible feat. So congrats.
Thank you.
Okie doke. So next up we have, wait, let me see. Okay, so Cap, are you here? I'm just gonna make you a co-host. Oh, cool.
Yes.
Hey, okay, so we'll hear from Cap next, and you should be able to share now.
Let me see. Oh, there's something that says someone else is sharing.
Oh, I wonder. Okay, let me just see if I can.
Oh, okay.
Let's try it now.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see you and your screen and hear
Awesome.
you. Cool.
Awesome. So I'm Cap. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Namespace. And I know I should have done a presentation, according to you, Alicia, you told me to, but I didn't, because I just thought it would be, you know, a lot more fun to actually do a demo. And for this demo specifically, I registered an ENS name called Town Hall, and we'll use this name for this entire demo and the presentation. So we have the ENS name Town Hall.eth, and we obviously provide, like, as a namespace, we provide the front end for people to register their ENS names, and it works pretty much the same as ENS Manager app, with a little few, you know, fancy animations, right? So this is the registration page, but we'll actually come back to this one. So if you go to the account page right now, this is a connected wallet overview, your namespace profile that you can edit, you can update the profile name, description, and social links, and so forth. It gives you like an overview of your activity on the Namespace platform. Like, for example, I have 15 names, 8 subnames, I have 10 subnames sold, the profit and the total volume traded on this platform. And this gives you like an overview of ENS names and subnames. But where all the magic happens is with the manager of our app. And what Namespace really is a subname management platform. That's what we are in essence, subname management and registration platform. So when you go to the manager, and keep in mind that I had just registered townhall.eth. So if I search for, let's search for townhall.eth, and I select that name, it's gonna pre-select this, this use case called sell unruggable subnames. So what this will do is, will essentially, like, under the hood, it will like just burn the necessary fuses for making subnames unruggable and so forth. So we handle all of that for the end users, so they don't have to worry about like any technical details around like creating their names, and issuing subnames. We just display a specific use case, and they can just choose which one they want to use for, in this case, like sell unruggable subnames. And in the future, it's going to be rent unruggable subnames, community management, gasless, DNS integration, and all of that stuff. So for now, we have selected Town Hall.eth and sell unruggable subnames. And we provide a bunch of cool kind of tools and features that you can do in here. So we allow you to custom the selling price. So let's say that base price for subnames should be like 0.001. For 2-letter one, let's say something crazy like 1 Ethereum. We want to sell them at premium. For 3-letter one, let's say we want to sell them for 0.5. For 4-letter ones 0.1, and for 5-letter ones, let's say 0.3. So this is pretty for something useful that we thought the ENS community is going to enjoy. So we built it. The reserve subnames feature is pretty cool because it allows you to reserve some subnames for yourself that you can do with them afterwards, whatever you want. And the subnames that you reserve will not be mintable by anyone else. So let's say the Town Hall.eth is our organization here, and we want to like set aside like Alicia.townhall.eth or cap.townhall.eth. Or if it's like an organization, like we would maybe want to set aside things like DAO or docs or website or email, or pretty much like anything in here goes. So all of these names are going to be like in the associated to the owner, and anyone else like will not be able to mint them, which is pretty cool. And based on the name that you have in here, you would want to set aside like and reserve some different subnames. Like if you have last name, you would maybe want to reserve like all the first names, which you can later on sell or resell at a higher price, or you can give them to your friends, or like you can do with them pretty much with anything you want. So, all this. So we have the use deadline feature, which allows you to set the to minting of the subnames to start in the future. So you can say like, okay, on the 1st of July at 7 p.m., the official minting for this Town Hall.eth can start, and people can start minting subnames then. And we have the whitelisting process. So the whitelisting currently has 2 options, whereas only this first one is only whitelisted addresses can mint a subname. So what this means is that if you, for example, let's go here and paste my address. So if I paste the address in here, this means that only my address, if I select this, will be able to mint subnames, and everyone else will just like fail. It will be forbidden for them to mint a subname. And if I select this one, this means that all the whitelisted wallets in here will be able to mint one for free, but everyone else will have to pay for these prices, which is pretty cool. Let's actually go ahead and try to list the name. You can see the last like check of everything that you've done. And hopefully this works. As Slobo just said, like we know that demos always work, especially when they're only live on Garly. So hopefully this goes through, and if this goes through, this means that you will officially have listed the name with us, and it will be available for people to mint subnames off of it. Great, so the transaction went through. So if I go to the ENS right now and go to the Town Hall, it's gonna say, yes, the status of the name is listed, and you can do a bunch of interesting things in here. The first thing that we've built is that you can immediately directly from the name see this like a little box that says find your perfect subname, and you can mint the subname from here. So if I type something crazy, it's gonna say that mint price is 0.001, as it is set to be the base price. As I'm like deleting the characters, like the price is gonna increase because it's based on the length, and the 4-letter one is gonna be 0.1, and the 2-letter one is gonna be like 1 Ethereum. And if we type Alicia, that is Alicia.townhall.eth, is gonna say it's reserved by the name owner and cannot be minted. So that's pretty cool. Also, you can do the minting if like this kind of design is not intuitive. Like people usually click on actions, and like you can do the same thing from here. It's gonna just act exactly the same. You can update the profile from here. These are all the text records that we enable. We have subname holder benefits. We were thinking that people who list eventually names with us will want to provide certain benefits to their holders depending on what names they have. For example, if someone has like gamer.eth, they would maybe want to provide like some, discounts or some games on Web3 games and stuff like that. Or maybe someone would want to provide like, token gated access to some communities or some resources or something we downloaded, or some exclusive access to some certain things when we're talking about brands and stuff like that. So we built that one as well. So yeah,
let's actually go ahead and try to mint the subname and see if that works. So if that works, hopefully that works. It's the subname should appear in here. But I said that I'm going to come back to the registration, and the registration page right now is obviously like you can mint the subname from here, but the important thing is that like from here now when you search, like, and we all know the issue with ENS, like a lot of really good names are available or are taken. So if you want to like register nick.eth is going to be taken, right? But now nick.townhall.eth is going to be available, so you can register it. And we provide you with a list of like last 5 listed names on our platform that have nick something available to be minted off of them, which is pretty cool. And we plan on adding a lot of different things in here. We can obviously have a button like to show more, obviously categories and stuff like that. We're working on all of that. But for now, this is pretty much it. And I think I covered everything. If we go just back to the town hall right now and see if the name, I think the transaction went through and the name is going to appear in here. Yeah, the name that we just minted, and it's going to show all of the minted subnames in here in the future that get minted as well. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it right now. We're live on Garcia and we are looking for testers. So if anyone has, if anyone is interested in giving this a go and letting us know in our Discord if there's something we can do better, and if they want to suggest any feature or use case specifically or anything else, please do. And if you want to reach out to me on Twitter, my DMs are open. I'm thecap himself on Twitter. So yeah, thanks guys. I really appreciate this opportunity, and that's it for me.
Thanks so much, Cap. That was just as exciting as the ecosystem working group last week when you presented, and I felt real FOMO. I felt real FOMO when you were creating subnames on townhall.eth, because I had this idea like, oh, we could do, if you had like project names like ENS.townhall.eth, and then we could do like the different quarters, or wait, it'd be like, we could do 2023.ens.townhall.eth, and then we could do the quarters, and then we could use like 1W3 to put out decentralized websites. So we just like host the YouTube video on that page and stuff like that. But anyways,
yeah.
I'm excited.
Anytime someone starts throwing ideas at me, I jokingly refer to myself as a perpetual FOMO victim, because we want to build everything and we don't have nor the time nor resource, like we don't have anything to build everything, but we just power through. But yeah, we're step by step and we'll definitely get there. But yeah, thank you so much for the kind words right now and before. And obviously, like, thank you guys for the grant. That was that's going to cover a lot of operating costs. And hopefully if anyone knows who has namespace.eth, I'd really appreciate it if you guys let me know and maybe start a negotiation there, because we want to acquire that name.
Okay, well, validated.eth is listening and he's officially added it to his list. So hopefully we will just send all our good vibes to namespace.eth to get it into your hands. And also shout out, because I saw in the comments, there are lots of comments about the design and of the website, of the Namespace website, people really loving it. So I know it was a big effort to rebuild with Varun, which is the design system that the ENS Labs team put out. And but it looks incredible. And I love the visualization on the homepage. I think that when I first saw it, I just couldn't believe like how succinctly it communicates what ENS is. So that's really cool. Thanks so much, Kat.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. Now we are going to hear from Premm and Thomas about unruggable subnames. And Premm, I know this has been like a really long journey for you in terms of working on the name wrapper and all of the functionality. And I don't know if there is anyone in the community that is as committed to, I don't know, just making sure that all the future of the name wrapper and the possibilities are kind of worked into what is put out into the world. And so, yeah, I will just make you both co-hosts so that you can share, and let me know if you have any trouble sharing your screen if you want to share your screen. Otherwise, I will leave you and Thomas to it.
Okay, thanks, Alicia. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yes, subnames have been a passion of mine since April 2021, when I first started thinking deeply about the idea of Web3 and naming. And I just had the idea that actually this crazy idea that ENS could become the naming system of the world is true, and it will happen, but it will only happen if we have the potential to expand the namespace into the subname layer. And so, yeah, I've been working on that for a while. Our project is called Unruggable Names, and we're building an unruggable subname rental system. I call it a protocol extension to the name wrapper and to the ENS protocol. And Thomas, if you want to go to the next slide. Okay, so what is the issue with rentals? Rentals basically is a registration that first takes place, where a parent name owner will register, will allow for registrations to take place of subnames on that parent name. So if you have example.eth, it could be name.example.eth, or an organization, community.eth, it could be name.community.eth. And the registration takes place for a set period of time for emancipated names. Emancipated names, also called forever names, have a duration in which they are registered for, but they don't have a rental associated with them. So we've built like I said, a protocol extension that builds on forever names, or the fuse is called can extend expiry. So we build on that, and we actually create a rental system on top of that. And after the initial period, the registration takes place, there is the critical moment of renewal. When you need to renew, there's a renewal price. And click the next slide, Thomas. Right, so the renewal price. So the problem with ruggable rentals, which I'm showing here, is that this renewal price, if you have to ask the parent name owner whether you can renew and what the renewal price is, it inherently is ruggable at the point of the renewal. So go to the next slide. So we introduced the idea of third-party renewal controllers. So these are third parties that control the renewal price and effectively make it so that the subname owner, the renter, doesn't have to trust the parent name owner in order to rent the name at the point of renewal. And we imagine a marketplace of renewal controllers. So this is basically kind of like an escrow service. If you imagine you're going to do a transaction, and a high value transaction like buying a house or something, and you need to do that transfer, that's an escrow service. In our case, we have another problem, which is the idea of a long-term commitment to a renewal price. So over 30 years, we need to make sure that the price stays at $5, if that's the initial renewal price. And so we imagine a marketplace of renewal controllers. And these are just a couple of dummy logos just to give us the idea of what they might look like and how this marketplace might develop. And the question of how do we create unruggable rentals is answered simply by saying the market will decide if you create a marketplace and make it an open and permissionless network, which is what we're building. And next, Thomas will give us a demo.
Hello. Yeah, can people see the demo?
Yes, I can see the demo.
Perfect. Yeah, I've just been trying to work out how to share the appropriate screens with Prem talking, etc., etc. So yeah, I've shown this interface before, and people can access it now on unruggablenames.com if they want, and try it out for themselves. I've shown this before on the ecosystem calls, but I wanted to kind of show it in a sort of different way that perhaps kind of makes some of the points that Prem has just made clearer, and obviously with the time constraints. So I've registered price per character.eth on Khori. You can register second level names using this interface now if you want, and that kind of uses the standard ENS Labs produced ETH registrar controller. If you click on more info here and go to the subnames tab and look at the renewal configuration, you can see that this has been set up with a renewal controller contract that specifically prices names based on their length. So one letter name is $1,000, two letters $100, three letters $10, anything else is $5. This is set up from a registration configuration section, and anyone can access this and set up a renewal controller for a second level name that they own. If on the other hand, I type in $5.eth, which is another name that we've registered and set up with a different renewal controller. This one is using the $5 renewal controller, which sells subnames for a fixed $5 fee. If I type in a random acronym, a three-letter acronym, for example, like TCS, you can see we've set it up to default to showing subnames of $5 and price per character as other options. But you can see that, yeah, the $5.eth is using the $5 renewal controller. So it costs $5. And for price per character.eth, because it's a three-letter name, it's $10 per year. The process is similar to registering a second level name. So I don't know if you could see the MetaMask pop up, but MetaMask is popping up now. I can confirm a transaction. This is live on Khori, so it will submit a commitment, which will hopefully not take very long. But obviously, as it's a demo, it probably will. If you were to use this interface to register a second level name, it's because it's using the registrar controller, it has a 60-second timeout, but we've set up ours with 5 seconds just for now for subnames. So again, MetaMask has popped up. I can confirm the registration, and yeah, that should shortly complete, and you will have registered that subname of $5.eth for $5. What you can then do is you can click on more info, and you can renew the name by clicking the renew button. You can renew it for any length of time, but for a year it's $5 because it's using the $5 renewal controller. And that is the aspect that is unruggable. You can renew that name for $5 per year for as long as the parent name exists, etc. So it kind of gives you a level of trust that some of the other solutions that have been demoed can't necessarily provide at this point, because they are inherently ruggable. In terms of setting up subnames, I registered setup.eth previously, but didn't set up subnames. You can just click on subnames, click edit configuration, click offer subnames, and then choose which one you want to use. At the moment, we offer those 2 choices I mentioned, but clicking save configuration will pop up MetaMask, and I can confirm that, and that will set that up, after which point you'll be able to register subnames of setup.eth for $5 a year. So this is an interface to the unruggable protocol, which is what Prem and I have kind of been working on. Obviously, all the other demos that people have demoed before us, they're like incredible. And we've been chatting to Cap about his product, and I hadn't actually seen a demo of that myself. And as everyone else has said, that interface is incredible. So I built this interface just to demo the contracts that we have built and kind of what they do and how it works. But our hope is that, yeah, kind of entities like Cap and his team will potentially integrate with this protocol such that they can offer unruggable names. And yeah, we hope that kind of anybody and everybody will work with us to develop some sort of standards, and kind of this was previously mentioned on the ecosystem meeting by Serene. Yeah, we're very interested in kind of chatting to people to make this a public good as much as anything, such that kind of we can create a protocol that anybody can use to offer secure, unruggable subnames in a consistent manner. I'm just trying to think. At the moment, we're internally auditing this, and we're hoping to kind of get this out on mainnet fairly soon, such that people can use it in the real world with the appropriate kind of disclaimers. And then down the line, we're hoping to kind of get appropriate funding to get it kind of properly audited. And yeah, we're happy to chat with anybody about this, as Alicia mentioned, Prem is very passionate about subnames. I like to think that I'm passionate, but I have to concede that Prem is more passionate. I'll be in Paris, happy to buy anyone a drink that wants to test out this product and give me feedback and suggestions. Yeah, I think that's all that I have.
Incredible. Thank you, Thomas and Prem. I feel like I'm going to need some more girly ETH because there's so much to experiment with. And I think as well, like we've heard from a couple of projects who allow people to just like register essentially like forever subnames. But I think that this model of rentals is really interesting and like unlocks a whole new, I can't even begin to think. We could probably do like a whole ecosystem call just on like the many different use cases that would apply to rentals in particular, and thinking like really laterally about what that actually means. So yeah, and also even just like the controller, like a market for controllers and things like that. I think that is such I don't know, I think it takes like real vision to imagine what it looks like, years out from now and plan and code for that now. So congrats on getting this far and where you guys are, and excited to see what the next couple of months looks like and for you guys to put on mainnet.
Thank you. Just quickly, I noticed that Gary has mentioned in the chat because we've been chatting to all sorts of different people, but Gary has mentioned that this works and provides unruggable subname rentals without burning any fuses. So there's no technological lock-in with the name wrapper contracts as well. And yeah, I think that is worth noting.
Incredible. Okay. Thank you both so much. And if you don't catch Thomas in Paris, I know that you guys are always on the ecosystem working group calls, which happen weekly. Aren't on to because the public goods and the ecosystem working groups kindly conceded the time so that we could have the town hall, but I'm sure we'll be around from next week onwards. And if people want to find information on that, it's in the governance forum, which is discuss.ens.domains. And hopefully the team will chuck a link to that in the YouTube comments so people will be able to click straight from there. All right, so next up we have Varun from Farcaster. And thank you so much for joining us. We're very excited to have you. Let me just make sure that you can present and things like that. Is that working?
Wonderful. Cool. Can you see my screen now?
I can see your screen and I can hear and see you. You're good to go.
Amazing. Thanks for having me. And thanks for the invite, Greg. So I'm Varun, one of the founders of Farcaster, which is a protocol for building decentralized social networks. And Farcaster is going to be using ENS for its namespace, which is a new change that we've made in the protocol. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what Farcaster is and why we made the decision to build with ENS. So really quickly, you can think of Farcaster as a decentralized protocol for building all kinds of different social networks. What this means in practice is users can use different applications to connect to the Farcaster network, and the network acts as sort of a common repository for all the identities that users have and all the data that they store on the network. The main value proposition to users is you have sovereignty over your data and freedom over which app you'd like to use to connect to the network. So let's say you're using one application today, you don't like the way it does filtering, you don't like the way it does moderation, because you control your identity and your relationships with all the other users, which is stored on the Farcaster network here. You can always switch to a different app or even use multiple apps simultaneously to connect to the network. And the value prop for app developers is you have sovereignty over owning your relationship with your users and with the network. So unlike on centralized social networks, you always have access to all public data on the network. And as long as users give you permission, you can always post on their behalf. So whether you're an independent developer or a venture-backed team, you can continue building your applications on Farcaster forever without any third parties or intermediaries that you have to go through. Which unlocks a lot of, is sort of like web and the email where you can build freely with the promise that no one will be able to get in between you and your users. And Farcaster today is an early community of Ethereum adopters. We built it in a way that it's a network that can support any kind of social network. But because we're built largely on Ethereum, a lot of our early users and adopters come from the Ethereum community. So if you're looking for a place to find or meet or connect with other developers or people in the Ethereum community, Farcaster is a great place to start today. So a little bit about how the system works. So there's two pieces to Farcaster. There's the on-chain component, which is what we call the identity piece or the identity registry, where users, when they sign up, first acquire a username and an identifier that's associated with them. And then there's the off-chain component, which is where all their data lives. So you can think of these as messages like hello world, anything else you'd say, your follows, your relationships with other users. And the way this works is once you acquire an identity, it's tied to an address. And you can use that address to create signed messages, which you then broadcast to the off-chain network. And the off-chain network, this is sort of the core secret sauce of Farcaster. It's a protocol that we have that's built using a system of nodes that we call hubs, which store all of this data. And hubs are specialized to work with social data. So they're engineered to do thousands of updates in real time, share this between users, and handle all of this very gracefully. So the challenge we had when we first built Farcaster, and this is how the system works today, is when you sign up, you get two things. You get an identifier and a username. So the username is something that you can use to reference or mention the user on the network. It would be like @Varun, for example. And the ID is, you can think of it like a unique identifier. It could be a number like 1, 2, 3 or 5, 6, 7. It's unique to each user and it's assigned when they signed up. And the reason we have a number and a name is it gives you the flexibility to change names. So if you establish a relationship with another user, you do it by using these numbers, but you can associate a name with it, which then in clients and applications shows up as your username. And tomorrow, if I wanted to change to @V, I would just connect @V to 1, 2, 3, and that would become a totally valid name. The problem we had, and this is why we didn't adopt ENS early, was registering on-chain names was both expensive and time-consuming. It took multiple transactions, and we had a lot of drop-off from users going through that flow when we had to deal with on-chain names. But with the CCIP support for ENS, we actually now have a system where we can do names in an off-chain manner, but still have them be composable on-chain. So the way the system works will work soon is you'll make a transaction to Ethereum to grab your identifier, and then you'll be able to talk to a CCIP server or a server that's connected to the CCIP contract to actually register a username. And this will be a sub-username, so it'll be under the farcaster.xyz domain, and you'll be able to grab a username. This is free, and anyone can register it as soon as they sign up with Farcaster, which provides an easy entry point. So the vision that we have for usernames on Farcaster is, for new users, we want them to be able to easily get on board. So when you sign up with Farcaster, you get a free name under the Farcaster XYZ namespace. It is moderated, like it is controlled by a server that we operate. And if you want a fully decentralized username, you can upgrade to a paid username on the Ethereum L1, like varun.eth, and you can use that within Farcaster as well. So users can start very easily with a simple namespace that's free, and then upgrade to a fully decentralized namespace. So this is in progress right now. We actually expect this to ship in July. And thanks to Greg for nudging us on this and sort of moving us in this direction when CCIP came out. And finally, if you're not on Farcaster today and you would like to use Farcaster, just send me a DM on Twitter. It's still invite only until we launch on mainnet later this year. And my Twitter handle is @VarunSrin, so you can DM me and I would be happy to give you an invite. Cool, that's all I have for today, folks.
Varun, thank you so much. We are so excited to hear about the Farcaster ENS integration, and partly because it's so wonderful that Greg is and has been such a big part of your community from basically the beginning of Farcaster and is so active there, and obviously now from being one of the most prolific builders in the ENS community to being on the ENS Labs team and being in a position to help with that integration. So yeah, it's really cool to watch, and I know that we're really excited. I saw, again, just like Skiff, I saw like a bunch of the ENS community tweeting about Farcaster over the last couple of weeks, and I'm excited to see more of that. So thank you so much for making the time.
Cool, thanks for having me on.
Cool. Okay, so we are pretty much on time. It has been 2 hours, and we do have a Q&A box, but I don't know that anyone has used it, but I see that Dan has his hand up. Dan, if you want to use the Q&A box, feel free. But otherwise, I think that this is us. Thank you so much for attending the ENS Q2 2023 Town Hall. Thank you so much to the presenters. It was an incredible couple of hours to hear from everyone and to see the work that is being done. And I think that the next couple of months will be really exciting, both in real life with lots of events happening and a lot of the community out and about all over the world, and also I say online and on chain as things develop. And if you have any questions, I would encourage you to visit the ENS Manager app, which you can find at @ens.domains, or just like the ENS Domains website, which is ens.domains. And we have a chatbot there which offers support and will help answer your questions. Otherwise, you can go to either ENS Domains on Twitter or ENS_DAO on Twitter and send a message. Actually, all of the labs team have affiliate logos so that you'll know who you're dealing with. And I think pretty much all of us have open DMs. And if you are wondering where it's going to be, it'll be at the end of Q3. We normally do them on the last Thursday of the quarter, if you just want to pencil that in. And you can watch this all again on YouTube. Working groups will YouTube next week, and the meetings will resume. I think that is kind of everything. Again, thank you so much, and I hope you all enjoyed the last couple of hours as much as I did, and we'll see you again